In this episode for the CB450 build series, we are going to tackle the front calipers, rebuilding those, cleaning them up, and also we're going to look at the rotors and maybe a few other miscellaneous things to start getting ready, because as you know, we are in the assembly phase now with the frame all powder coated, most of the bits all powder coated, ready to go, put everything back together. So now what the process entails is getting all of the parts that need to be bolted on, prepped, painted, rebuilt, and ready for the final assembly. So that starts with doing some caliper rebuilds, put in new brake pads, clean the pistons, put new seals, refreshing them. I don't think I'm going to paint these ones because they're in pretty good shape. With that being said, I have front rotors that I have to repaint and surface. That's not an issue. That shouldn't take too long. And then following that, I have to rebuild the rear brake shoe, and we should be good to go from there. So today's episode is going to be all about brake, getting those ready to go, bolted on, ready to be bolted on, and that's that. So roll the intro and get right into this episode. Alright guys, so part of this brake caliper process is getting the pistons out of the caliper to change the seals, clean them off, put new seals in, clean them up, and put it back together. One of the hardest things is usually to get the pistons out. Now, one thing I advise you guys to never do is take pliers and try to pull them out, because I did that on my first set of calipers I bought for the 750. Lo and behold, I ruined the pistons not knowing I can reuse them, blah, 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 just lack of knowledge. And so what I did was I had to buy another set. Okay, great. And from that process of buying a second set, I found a great method to getting these pistons out of the caliper, and that is with air. And if you have air, this is a great method. Also, another method is just while the bike is connected to the master cylinder, you pump out the pistons as much as possible. But I didn't have that luxury because I didn't have a master cylinder available to do that with, and I didn't want to bleed them, blah, blah, blah. So this is the easiest and quickest way. So what you do is block off the air where air can escape, and what it does is it pushes air and the pistons come out. Now be advised, the pistons, when they come out, they're gonna go pop. So be careful, watch your eyes, watch your surroundings, because they can shoot out like piss missiles. Without further ado, let's go ahead and kind of show you that process. It's pretty straightforward, and let's go ahead and try it out. So there's one. And there they go, pop! So just be careful when you do that. It works really great. Slightly tedious once you get a hang of it, super straightforward. So now let's go back to the bench, get these cleaned up and fully rebuilt. We are going to move on to the front rotors. Now, these front rotors are in decent shape. They're straight, and I'm going to resurface them by hand, so nothing crazy. Just going to do a nice scuff up to the rotors, smooth out the rotor plates so we can embed the new brake pads a little better. It's just, you know, nice thing to do instead of run them like this. It cleans them up, gets any brake dust and dirt out of there. And then what I'm going to do is mask off the painted areas and go ahead and start sanding these rotors. So it's kind of a bear. It's a killer on the hands, but not to worry. And we're going to go ahead and get these rotors prepped and ready, because once I get the surfaces all good, I will then take the tape off of these center spots and move on to taping the actual brake area, and then we will paint the front silver. So honestly, I might clean them up first and see if they're dirty. If they're not dirty, I'm gonna leave them alone. Just clean up this rust and whatnot. So without further ado, let's roll the time lapse back up and cue up the music. Let's go, baby. All right, guys, for this episode of rebuilding the brakes, calipers, resurfacing the rotors, painting the rotors, putting new brake shoes in the rear drum, cleaning that up, repainting that as well, this episode is gonna come to a close. And even though it's coming to a close, it's gonna lay us up for a great next couple episodes because we will have a final roller very, very soon here. The one last piece to the puzzle that's preventing me from getting the wheels on is awaiting a rear sprocket so I can get everything torqued down. I'd like to get it all torqued and finalized before I put them on for the last time and hopefully the last time. So that's why you do not, in this episode, I wanted to get the wheels back on. However, that's not gonna happen. We'll have a dedicated episode to just the final roller, and I cannot wait for that episode because that's one of my favorites, to be quite honest. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We resurfaced the front rotors, we painted the front rotors, we put new brake shoes in the rear drum, we painted the rear drum, and we also rebuilt, put new brake pads, new seals, and cleaned out the front calipers, and those are ready to go. So all we're waiting on is the rear sprocket to be mounted up on the rear wheel, and we will have a full roller in due time. As always, MZR fam, we're one team, one family. Thanks for being dope, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.